All right, so we're gonna go over 7 ways to fix the ride on your vehicle if it is riding bumpy, or if you plan on doing something, but you've heard a lot of people say it rides like crap. There are a lot of ways to go ahead and fix that. Let's go over it today. This is honestly a video for a ton of people because this is probably one of the most concerning things about buying a lifted truck. Will it ride like crap? Let's go over how to make that not happen. If you lift a truck and it turns out bumpy, there are several different categories as to why that could be. The main one is that you bought shocks that weren't meant for the truck, are cheap as all get out, or don't go along with the lift kit. Well, shocks. Let's just go. Shocks are a massive part of the ride quality. Shocks, struts, whatever it is, that is going to change the ride quality dramatically. So, first step is buying the right shock. There are several different shock companies that I highly recommend, depending on your budget. Budget video could be a little bit separate, but to get into it a little bit, Rough Country is gonna be your starting, Rough Country Bilstein area. That's gonna be your starting price, Rough Country Bilstein. There are a few other companies, but that's gonna be your starting area, is like that 150 to 300. That's gonna be your starting range. That's where those guys are gonna fall into that category. Then you get into Fox shocks, you get into Ready Lift shocks, has a lot of different options so they get up to that price. Fox shocks, Ready Lift, King, like some actually Rough Country like Vertex shocks are gonna get in there too. So that's a good list of shocks that are more expensive. The Vertex are obviously they're gonna be at the lower end of that, but they still are right around $1,000. Picking the shock is dramatically important. Whether or not that shock is a reservoir or non-reservoir shock, those are 2 different categories as to added quality of ride. The best riding shock that I have ever experienced on a ride was a King 3.0 reservoir shock. That shock was freaking out of this world. The truck was lifted 5.5 inches and I thought I was in a Cadillac. It was wonderful. And so with that shock, that is absurdly expensive. That strut set is like $8 grand or something, but it will absolutely make your ride phenomenal. Now that being said, if you're looking to be in that budget range of like $1,000, you can get some Fox shocks. Fox monotube shock that are a 2.0, 2.5, whatever it is, will put you in that range. And that is perfectly fine because that shock is one of the most renowned shocks for being super reliable and also super comfortable. Really up from there, you're just going into reservoir stuff. And though it is more comfortable, it's not something you can really tell a difference until you get into a crazy different price range. But this Fox shock right here that we have with this Cognito setup is absolutely phenomenal riding. It is going to catch just about every bump and pressurize and compress it perfectly. If you're riding in a 1500, you're fine with Rough Country shocks, N3s, M1s. M1s I always prefer. They're actually what I'm about to get on my truck. But if you are in a 2500 and 3500, you have a lot more weight to your vehicle, right? And if you lift it, those angles are gonna be a lot different. I would suggest going with a shock that's a little bit more advanced than that. So getting a V2 from Rough Country would be perfect if you want to go monotube. A V2 monotube is definitely on the cheaper side, but it is a phenomenal shock. V2, and then you get into your reservoirs like the Vertex or your Fox 2.5 Performance Series, King shocks, whatever it is. Your Falcon makes one that's phenomenal on Fords and GMCs as well, and that is a full strut as well. I would say for 2500s and 3500s, I would go into that range, but for 1500s, you're fine with N3s, M1s, Fox 2.0s. Those are all great. And Fox 2.0s are also fine on 2500 and 3500s. They're great shocks. They're just very, very much so comparable to the V2. I would say they're a bit above them. But shocks, picking them is a first step all around. That fixes most of your problems. All right, next one is also to do with shocks, and it is tuning. Not a lot of people recognize that a lot of shocks, especially when you get into that reservoir area, are adjustable. That's not to say like when you see an M1 adjustable strut, does not mean that it's adjustable pressure-wise or anything ride quality-wise. That is actually just adjustable height-wise. But reservoir shocks that are adjustable, Vertex, Fox, King, whatever you're going, a lot of times they'll have an adjustable knob. That adjustable knob is going to stiffen or loosen the ride of your vehicle, depending on the terrain that you're deciding to roll on. Definitely adjust that, especially if you just plan on highway riding. Do not have it on the stiffest setting. Put it somewhere in the middle. You do not need it on the stiffest setting. If you're going on a place that you know is going to have a ton of bumps or if sand, adjust it. But other than that, keep it, I would say, in the middle, and you'll be absolutely fine. Do not put it on the stiffest setting or on the loosest setting just for regular day riding. It will make it a little bit weird and you'll kind of notice it. Big tires does not mean uncomfortable ride. It just doesn't. Different types of tires or different prices of tires, different quality, there are a lot of different things about tires that's gonna make it different riding, but just because the tire's big does not mean that it has a crappy ride. One of the big things is tire pressure. A lot of people, when they lift their trucks and put 35s, 37s, 33s, 40s, they are going to adjust the PSI to the max rating that they see on the PSI level. I would not recommend putting it to the max. The max PSI on a lot of these guys, so for instance, with this tire, Avix Trail Tech is gonna be an F-load. This is a 35, 1250, 22. A lot of times with F-loads, you'll see that they are 80 PSI. There's very few instances where that changes. 80 PSI doesn't mean that you run it at 80 PSI all the time. I recommend running them at 65, 70, maybe even 55. That gives you a comfortable range. It's not so much tire pressure that every bump you're hitting, you just kind of go up a little bit. You need to have some airspace to absorb the impact of the road. And so lower it down to 65 area, 70 if you want a little bit of a stiffer one, or 55 if you know that you have a lot of bumps or anything on the road to take that impact on. That definitely does change the quality of the ride drastically. And then also the type of tire that you're going with. So obviously for 2500s and for 3500s, I've seen people ride E-load tires on 2500s and 3500s. Obviously there is a weight rating for these tires, and that's what it is, right? Is that E-load, F-load. Though the 25 and 3500s, it'll be a problem running an E-load. And E-loads are softer, they are comfortable in a sense, but if you're hauling anything, you want to make sure that, or you have the ply in the tire that's able to take on the weight that you're hauling, right? And so that's why we always put F-loads on our 2500s, 3500s, even our 1500s, we typically will put F-loads on them. That being said, just make sure that you get the right ply for your vehicle and what you're hauling. Next thing is actual tread of the tire. So if you have a mud terrain all the way down to an all-terrain, those are going to be different than standard all-season tires, right? They're not just street tires. They're meant to take on all-terrain, mud and snow and off-roading, right? So those tires are going to have a more aggressive tread pattern. That aggressive tread pattern won't necessarily all the time mean that it's less comfortable, but it is louder. If you want something right in the middle, just go with an all-terrain or a rugged terrain, RT, AT. Those guys are quieter and they are more, I guess, comfortable. They're just smoother riding, other than that brrrr that you sometimes feel when you're riding on muds. Different all-terrains will act differently. And so Avixes versus Toyo AT3s, those are a difference. Toyos are much smoother than Avixes. It's not, I've ridden in a lot of these, so I notice it more. You might not, but different tire prices and just the quality of the tire will impact whether or not that tire is the smoothest riding for you. So if you want something very aggressive and smooth, give us a call. We'll give you some options. Number 4, suspension matters. Okay, don't get me wrong and let me tell you that suspension doesn't matter, but the suspension that you buy does matter. Now those components are all piled up, whether it's shocks and upper control arms and leaf springs and drop bracket. These guys all matter, but putting them together properly is definitely gonna be something that is very important for your lift kit. I've had somebody that I worked with for about 2 months who tried to do one lift kit on his own, and then he was just buying parts off of me that he was trying to configure his own kit, and it ended up not working for him whatsoever. So I would recommend staying away from that unless you really, really know what you're doing. The angles of the upper control arms, this does matter. There are reliable companies that know what they are doing, guys. And so they'll sell you kits with upper control arms and everything included, and it all works out, okay? There are some companies that are sketchy, like Amazon companies and stuff like that. Just don't even try. Most of the time, it's not gonna work out right. Rough Country, Cognito, BDS, Zone, Ready Lift, Super Lift, all great companies to work with that will typically point you in the correct direction. For advanced lift kits over 4 inches, that's when you have to cut your cross members and stuff like that, besides these new Rough Country kits that they just came out with where you don't have to. But in a lot of kits, you do have to cut cross members 4 inches up, and that you'll need the right drop brackets, you'll need upper control arms, you need new cross members, obviously. Heavy duty vehicles, you might need a leaf spring add a pack or brand new leaf springs, just depending on the quality and the intensity of the lift kit you're going with. So make sure that you have those all in the kits if you're going over 4 inches. If you're going under 3.5, it doesn't have to be too crazy. Shocks, struts, upper control arms, I would very much so recommend pitman arms and drop brackets, maybe. Just make sure that it's all there. Buy it from a reliable source is the main thing, because it'll have it all in the kit. And then once you install that kit, do make sure that you get it properly aligned. If you don't have a proper alignment with the lift kit, nothing's gonna go well for you. it makes the vehicle actually still drive correctly. So you've got your camber and a few other aspects of your alignment. Make sure you get a four-wheel alignment that will basically take care of everything. Sometimes you have to do a realignment and stuff. The company should go ahead and take care of that for you. Once you do the alignment, that's gonna make sure that your vehicle is driving straight. It's gonna make sure that you're not having any wobble in the steering wheel. Any wobbling in the tires could be alignment. It could be a mount and balance issue. But if you're having any of these issues and you didn't do an alignment, especially if you installed it at home, just go to a shop. Hunter alignment machine is phenomenal. It takes an hour and a half and then you're out of there. And you won't be drifting to the right, drifting to the left anymore. You're driving straight. You won't have any wobbling or creaking or anything like that. All right, number 5, getting new upper control arms. Whenever you do a lift kit, please get new upper control arms, especially on GMCs and Chevys. It will help with the vibrations on the road, and it will help contain any feel that you're getting from bumps, any impact that the car takes. Your upper control arm assists the shock in taking that vibration and not making the vehicle sway up and down. And so definitely make sure that you upgrade your upper control arms. Factory upper control arms, for the most part, are not made for lifted vehicles, especially on GMCs and Chevys. I want to hype that up. They do not belong there. GMCs and Chevys will blow out if you put them on anything above a leveling kit. Typically, I would just say even if you do a leveling kit, upgrade your upper control arms to forged upper control arms with different ball joints, whether it's a uni ball or not. Upgrade your upper control arms because the angle is going to be different on the front than factory. It's going to be at a more compressed angle with that ball joint, so you want to make sure the angle of the upper control arm is actually in place and meant for the height of the lift kit that you're going with. So a lot of companies will provide those with the lift kits like Ready Lift, Rough Country, EDS, and Cognito. Just make sure it's there. And if it's not, especially for GMC and Chevy, just get a new upper control arm if you're going over 3.5 inches. It will save you a ton of time and money and a pain in the butt, because blowing a ball joint is not fun. It will literally sink your entire, this will be on the floor, the vehicle, the tire and wheel will just be on the ground. It's absurd. So make sure that you get that done. I don't know if you've ever ridden in a vehicle that has a ball joint that's about to break. You will hear it, not only when you turn and when you brake. A lot of times you'll have ABS sensors going off. You will also feel it when you turn, and you'll feel a little bit of stiffness in the steering. So definitely get those replaced when you are doing a lifted vehicle. Installing it correctly, that's point number 6. If you did it and it sounds clinkety clank, don't do it. Just go somewhere professional and have them fix it. Typically, it's not the parts that come in from the places, it is the install of it. Making sure the torque specs are right, making sure your cross member alignment is good, and other features like that. Whenever you install, make sure that you torque all the parts down to what the specs say in instructions, because when you have loose parts, let's just say a steering stabilizer. If you have a loose bracket on a steering stabilizer and you're trying to turn, you might hear, and you're just gonna be like, what's going on? When it's not even something to do with the part. It's just that something's not screwed in right, and this thing is turning, and then it makes the entire thing turn because it's not turned really all the way, and it makes a big creaky noise and you freak out, right? Make sure that everything is torqued to spec, install is correct, and alignment is done, because that'll save you not only a literal heart, because you might have a heart attack, but also a lot of money and time if something did truly break. So make sure it's installed correctly. Number 7, weight and distribution of it with your height. Lifted vehicles. If you're doing a lifted vehicle and decide you also want to add a bed rack, bed cover, a bed box, or a front bumper, or a bunch of front accessories, make sure you know that first to install those correctly and torque them right, but also the weight of those bumpers, a lot of times is 400, 500 pounds, 150 to 400 pounds. That will cause the front to not only rattle if it's installed improperly, but also it might give you a little bit more of a bump or anything like that when you're on a road, because you have extra weight at the front, right? And so maybe it'll make it even sag a little bit, depending on the weight. So make sure that your weight distribution is correct. Say you do a bumper in the front, do something in the rear to match that bumper up so that it doesn't just have the front sagging and taking on more weight than the rear. Just make sure your weight distribution is added up enough and not throwing off a ton in the rear or the front, to where it could make one side more likely to hit a bump and go clank, or just look off after installing your lift kit. All right, if you're thinking about lifting your truck, or you've already done it and you hate it, these changes could make the day and night difference for you. So if you have any questions about that, or are looking to get one done in the future, just give us a call at 301-694-4642. It's better safe than sorry. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Want a free set of wheels and tires? Subscribe to Krietz Customs. We're giving away a free set at the end of the year if we hit 50,000 subscribers. So if you want them, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.